What's going on, guys? Middle89 here. Welcome back to the channel. In this video I wanted to talk about my Kundalini experience, which was really cool. Back in 2019, again December 21st 2019. I've recognised a pattern here off the back of doing some reading, but experiencing this firsthand. These kind of experiences tend to happen around a new moon. So anyway, going back to my first ever Kundalini experience, I was learning about reserving the chrism and how it's so important for semen retention in order to obviously facilitate energy and reabsorb all those nutrients and life force and life essence back into the body, especially for men. But I know this works with women too. And so I was learning off Santos Bonacci in terms of whenever the moon, there's an occult science behind this which has been proven, whenever the moon transits your sun sign, there is a psychophysical germ that apparently is released into your body, and then it kind of descends down the spine. It's separated by the Ida Pingala, or the pineal and the pituitary, and it descends down the spine and it sits in your sacrum, which is obviously the chamber of secrets, otherwise depicted in the Harry Potter films. And this is otherwise the coiled Kundalini. So this is the Kundalini when it's asleep. It's the coiled snake when it's dormant, it's cold, and it hasn't been evoked. So if you're able to withstand spilling that seed and preserving that germ and that fluid, for at least a 28-day period until the moon comes back and transits your sun sign again, you have an opportunity then for it to be activated and to raise it back up your spine and into your throne, your temple, which is your pineal gland, where basically it gets crucified. And apparently another definition of the word crucifixion is otherwise to increase 1,000-fold. And this is otherwise what leads to neurogenesis. If you're able to channel this back up and have a Kundalini awakening experience, where all this wonderful neurogenesis occurs and the releasing of all these wonderful hormones. So I actually encountered this. So back in 2019, it was interesting because it was bang on 21st of December, winter solstice, 2019. And it was actually I think it was a solar eclipse around that time as well. Or no, sorry, it would have been a lunar, it would have been a solar eclipse because it was a new moon. So bang on new moon. Anyway, I go to bed, so this would have been, I think this actually worked out to be just past 28 days, so it's probably like 34, 35 days. So the moon went way past. I'm a Pisces, so obviously started this in a Pisces, when the moon was in Pisces initially. And then it transited Pisces and it was going further, and obviously ended up in like Capricorn, because obviously it was around December 21st, winter solstice. I go to bed that night, and before going to bed, obviously I could feel the energy. Honestly, when you are able to hold that energy, that chrism, you definitely feel it. It's a lot of magnetism involved there, and so it takes a while to practice. But at that point, I was practicing a lot. I was kind of getting to like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. You've got to build up to these things. It takes time. So before going to sleep that night, I was in my mind's eye imagining having sex with the girl I knew but I never got with back at university. So it was very vivid, and I was able to, imagine this in my mind's eye. And as this was happening, and I was getting aroused, I felt the energy started to kindle down in the sacrum, and as it went on and got a bit more further into my imagination, all of a sudden this energy just shot straight up my spine. Like, you go to circus and you imagine having those hammers and you hit the button and this thing goes up and you've got to hit the bell that goes off, like the ding. It was like that. All of a sudden, boom, this energy shot up right up my spine. And whilst this was happening, I was propelled into a vision of me flying up in some foreign land I've never seen before, but it was like green pastures. It was kind of like almost nightfall, but there was like this ambient light coming in from all the stars, and there was this huge tree, absolutely huge tree. And I don't know why, it kind of, the term Mount Meru sprung up after kind of looking back, and it was otherwise what I thought was like the tree of life maybe, but there was this huge tree, and whilst this energy was flowing up my spine, I was envisioning me flying up my perspective until I reached the top of the tree in my vision. And obviously underneath were all these like nice little villages and stuff where people were living around this tree. And so as soon as I reached the top, I came back into the room and I was back in my body, and I was just flooded with all this endorphins and wonderful energies and feelings, and it was like nirvana. And it lasted for a good 2 or 3 hours. It was like a real warm, buzzing, ecstatic feel that filled me up, and lasted for a good few hours. I had a really nice sleep, which was quite interesting. And I remember I actually woke up, I think the next morning, and I had just a slight leak in terms of the chrism. So that was really quite interesting, but it wasn't full, it was only like a slight leak. So what I've learned since then, recently, I've had 2 or 3 other occasions where I was able to evoke this Kundalini, but these last 2 or 3 occasions have been more playful. And so before going, I find this, I always do this, and this often normally happens around the new moon. So I've logged this and kept an eye on this when I've been reserving the semen, and noticing that the last 2 or 3 occasions were all around a new moon, which otherwise ties into the occult principle of a moon being the ovaries of our solar system, and this Earth system that we're in terms of, they reckon the moon's the gateway of men coming in, or women coming into this portal, and they reckon the gateway of the gods is Saturn, which is the Cancer and the Capricorn, the kind of 6 and 9 matrix of this system we're in. And so it also governs the menstrual cycle of women, so it is very much tied into germination, gestation, which is quite interesting. And so new moon, last 2 or 3 occasions, this happened this year, all like within the first 2 or 3 months. I was observing the semen, and I had 2 occasions where I was able to evoke this around a new moon, and it was really playful. But this time I could only get it up to the heart, so it was otherwise really massaging, and it was really powerful sexual energy, and I was really aroused. It turned me on massively. So it's so powerful, this energy. But what was interesting is it activated around the kind of sacral plexus, and then it dropped down into the perineum, and it was like just massaging the perineum and the testicles, and then I was able to bring it back up into the sacrum again, the sacral plexus, and then bring it into the heart. And I remember it was coming into the heart, and it was filling both my chest and coming into my arms. And I remember it was just fluctuating between the two, and I was really trying to raise it up into the throat. I remember getting it into the throat and the neck, and it was kind of like just soothing and kind of massaging it with its warm energy, but then it kind of dipped back down again into the perineum. So that time I wasn't able to, like the first time, like a lightning bolt, send it right up into the cranium, into the pineal, to activate that. But it was a really good experience nonetheless. And what I found was, again, that night, because I wasn't able to elevate it, I actually had a wet dream, and a lot of it leaked out. And notice this: if you're unable to once activate it, raise it back up, possibly, you end up shedding it through the dreams. It's almost like your body needs to recycle or get rid of it in order to replenish and start again, basically. But what another thing that was really interesting as well was the nights that I don't even because you got to put a lot of energy into this. It requires a lot of focus in order to focus on the area and really activate it through arousal. And it's all done through sex, basically. You do that through your imagination, your mind's eye. This is what I found, and it is a very, very powerful energy to work with. And it is otherwise very serpentine in nature, because you can feel it just moving around, and there's sexual energy. But I noticed the nights, because I reserve the semen quite a lot anyway, just knowing the energy it has, and I don't want to spill that because it's very satanic, and I know a lot of these astral entities want to feed off that. So it's all about recycling them back in, and ejaculation and stuff, which I'm becoming more and more stronger at doing, better at doing in terms of recycling that. So what I noticed around new moons, if you're in a bad state, so you're not kind of in balance, and you would have these dreams, they literally have dreams where they try to extract this semen from you. So you'd be confronted by like succubuses or incubuses for the women. Succubus for the men are these kind of demonic entities in the astrals who appear as women in your dreams to try and facilitate and urge you to spill your semen in the dream worlds. And as that happens in the dream worlds, you would wake up and you would have a wet dream. And I'm starting to notice this. I had 2 occasions this year where I've done exactly that, and in my dream I've been put in a scenario consciously where I can't help myself but, you know, wanted to do the act. And it's very seductive with these women, these entities, and how it's extracted. It's otherwise like a hazy, almost drug-induced experience that portrays and plays itself out in the astrals, and then obviously I wake up and it's like a wet dream. And I'm just like, fucking hell. But I know it's only really happens when your kind of energies are low, and you're kind of tired and not in balance. And so, you know, becoming aware of this now, I'm becoming a lot better at governing my energy and becoming more powerful and more in control of that force, which otherwise, you know, is in there in the chamber of secrets in the sacrum, that you can invoke. But obviously if you don't invoke, it just gets recycled through the body, and it's all about control in order to keep that from spinning. And obviously if you're having sex, it's always best to reserve the semen too, because then you can last a lot longer. And every man will testify this, as soon as you spill that fluid, you really do get rid of all your energy. You feel really flat and you almost feel guilty, because you know this substance does create life, and there's a lot of power in it, and there's a lot of minerals in there too. And so if you're able to reabsorb that into the body, that is key at building up your energy and building up your astrals, which goes towards, you know, even greater awakenings and insights, and just more respect for yourself and your vessel. And these higher entities and all these parasites, you end up cutting off their food supply. So you find everything starts cleaning up in your life if you're able to control that sexual energy, that sexual desire, which is one of the secrets of the universe. If you can tap into controlling that sexual desire, the scorpion, and transmute that into the eagle, then the phoenix, you will literally be born again, because Scorpio governs that generative area, and that's why Scorpio is linked with the occult. And so, you know, if you can govern that seed, protect your seed, and raise that, and have from the experience, which is very, you know, very telling. And all the occult books talk about this. You know, after going through that experience, I read up about these books, and they all talk about how it can drop into the perineum and come back up. And I try to, you know, you try to move it with your mind, but it's only evoked through like sex and desire. So desire is the kind of is how you steer this energy, and it's all predicated on sex. But of course, sex transmutation is where, you know, a lot of these elitists know how to tap into, and so you can change that sexual desire and that energy into manifesting, and whatever it is you wish to manifest in this realm. And that's one of the occult sciences and secrets of magic, in terms of, you know, wanting to project or, you know, attract what you want out of this reality. So yeah, I thought I'd share that. Quite interesting. If you guys had similar experiences, we'd love to hear your stories and comments. I just found it very interesting. So new moon always happens around new moon, so pay attention around new moons. And if you watch, the moon is very mysterious, and it's otherwise linked with magic, of course, with the M and mem being water, memory, and obviously the governs the subconscious realms. Lunar, Isis, otherwise, you know, the protector of the veil, you know, unveiling Isis. This is all symbolic of the moon. So if you're able to learn the secrets of the moon and work with the moon in that respect, I think you can definitely master a lot in this realm and start tapping into that subconscious well of our mem. Mem is Hebrew for water, which is short for the word memory, which is where all water contains memory, which is why we're 80% water. What is the sphere that governs the waters? It's the moon. It's lunar. You know, the unicorn, depicted as the unicorn, which is otherwise symbolic of our pineal gland. And so that's what governs. And so if you work with her, even though I've seen it as a cube with two horned entities, there's got to be some kind of nature programmed into her that we can tap into in order to, you know, ask or prove our worth, that we have the capacity and power to handle these subconscious truths and our sublunar or lunar powers, which are linked directly to the pineal gland, and start taking back some of our power, which has otherwise been taken away from us, probably by those entities, and the Enlil and Enki, sorry. But yeah, I found that quite interesting. So yeah, please share and check out new moons. And like I said, yeah, clams. If you put a tray of clams on a tray and observe them over a 28-day cycle from new moon to new moon, full moon, you'll see them wax open and close during the waxing and waning of the moon. Our pineal gland, these glands, these secretions, are no different. They open up and close in concordance with the moon. So yeah, work with her. not against her, because we can, like anything in this universe, work with it, not against it. Transmute even the negative, everything that has a positive and negative. All these planetary spheres, yeah, have a positive aspect and a negative aspect. That's just the arc duality. Like, we have a positive aspect and a negative duality. It's based on our choice and what we wish to channel consciously, which will determine inevitably our experience in this reality. So yeah, that's very important to take away. And these planetary bodies are no different. These thought forms are no different. You know, they have a consciousness and they're very powerful, and they otherwise are the keepers of parts of you that have been refracted as you descended down into this dense body experience here on Earth, which is 3D. I think you can't get any lower than this, really, and it's below hell. 4D, lower 4Ds is hell. This is where a lot of this astral, invisible, subconscious influence is played out by the moon too, but it's up to us to take that back, take that power back, and get back in the driver's seat, which is the pineal gland, and take back control with our soul, mind, body, spirit complex. Alright guys, thanks for listening. Take care, and always, as always, stay protected, seek the truth, and yeah, hopefully see you on the astrals one time. Take it easy, bye.